Mike, I see you have joined the call. I'm going to request for you to unmute just so we can check your microphone. Hey, Mike, can you hear me?
How are you doing this afternoon?
Good. Alrighty. And then, Mike, as I told you when you had questions earlier, you'll just state your name for the record before speaking, and then you'll present the case to the board with whoever else you have on the call. Okay?
Oh, okay. Sounds good.
All right. Perfect. Thanks. All right. I think if you have 2 out of the 3
Right.
on the call.
Okay.
So I'll keep an eye out for Mr. Nutt in case he joins. But if the board would like to start, you can do so.
Sure. Okay. And should I just read Vince's name anyway, or just leave him off at the beginning?
Bob, how should we go about that? Bob, you're on mute.
I'm sorry, the question was, what was it?
We only have 2 of the 3 board members right now.
Right.
Should the chair read
Oh,
that the 3rd board member in case he jumps into the call later?
sure, that'd be fine.
Okay.
But you, I mean, you take the roll and he won't answer, but you can
Okay.
read him in.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. So we'll go ahead and start. I would like to call the meeting of the St. Louis County Board of Zoning Adjustment to order. The board members present today are Angelia Beals, Chair, Justin Randall, Vice Chair, and Vincent Nutt, Member. The Department of Planning staff members are Abby Freudel and Gretchen Arnold. Also on the call is Bob Grant from the County Counselor's Office. First, I'd like to offer into the record the affidavit of publication pertaining to today's meeting, November 20th, 2024. The board hereby takes official notice of and admits into the evidence on the record the St. Louis County Zoning Ordinance, Chapter 1003, St. Louis County Revised Ordinance 1974 is amended, and Chapter 1004, St. Louis County Revised Ordinance 1974 is amended. Next, I'd like to call for a motion to approve the minutes of the previous VZA meeting of October 16, 2024.
So moved.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
This meeting is conducted as a teleconference and is recorded. The planning staff will read each request into the record and present technical advice to the board if needed. The petitioner will be unmuted, state their name, and make a brief presentation to the board explaining the reason and hardship for the requested variance. The board will not consider financial hardships. Board members may ask questions to clarify the facts. When the board is satisfied with the material presented, the chairperson will then ask if there is anyone in favor or opposition to the request. To do so, click the hand next to your name. If any comments were submitted, staff will read them into the record. Before a call for the vote, the petitioner may request a continuance in order to bring in additional documentation. The board may also request a continuance to gather additional information or for a visit to the site. Once comments have been heard, the chairperson will then call for a vote. At that time, the discussion is ended. No further discussion is permitted. The board will generally make a decision today. If a variance is approved, the petitioner has 6 months to obtain the necessary permits or establish the use requested, or the variance will expire. The petitioner or any interested party has the right of appeal to the St. Louis County Circuit Court. Paperwork indicating the board's decision will be mailed to the petitioners.
And just for the record, you do have a full board now, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Moving on to 96-24 Union Electric / Ameren is a request for an exception to the side yard and height regulations for the purpose of erecting a cell tower at 18857 US Highway 66, maintaining a height of 259 feet in lieu of 200 feet and a side yard of 179 feet in lieu of 259 feet as required by the NU non-urban district regulations and Section 1003.157B Telecommunication Tower Regulations of the St. Louis County Zoning Ordinance and Conditional Use Permit 1001. At this time, Russell, I'm going to request for you and Susan to unmute, and then just please state your name for the record and then proceed with your case.
Good afternoon. My name is Russell Bean. I am with Selective Solutions. Our address is 340 Marshall Road, Valley Park, Missouri, 63088.
Okay, please state your case.
I'm here before you this afternoon. Ameren UE is constructing a private LTE communication network. The basis of the reason for this network is for the monitoring of their power production network and to monitor the meters. There are 42 towers being built throughout the St. Louis, Jefferson, Franklin, and St. Charles County areas in order to reach the coverage objective of the site. Ameren at this location required a 259-foot tower that is with 255-foot tower with lightning rod. And then due to the topographical nature of the property, due to the unusual shape of the property, and due to the locations of the existing high tension, high distribution lines, in order to fit the tower on the property, we are required to request a setback so that we can locate to the eastern side of the high tension power lines.
Okay. Are there any questions?
I don't believe I have any right now.
I think I do as well.
Okay. Is there anyone here in favor or opposition?
I don't see any hands, so at this time I'm going to mute the petitioners so that way the board can take a vote. This is 96-24.
Okay. In the matter of 96-24, I vote to approve the variance as advertised.
Second that motion.
Okay. All those in favor? Aye.
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 Okay, none opposed. The motion passes.
Alrighty. Moving on to 101-24, Francis and Cindy Frajarski is a request for an exception to allow the construction of a 36-foot by 56-foot detached garage and maintain the existing building with an overall 2,208 square feet of aggregate detached structures, which is more than half of the footprint of the primary residence at 12805 Bell Fountain Road, as required by Section 4 of the R2 Residence District Regulations of the St. Louis County Zoning Ordinance. As the board may have seen in their packet, the property owner is still working on getting a revised plan for the board. So they have requested that the board continue them until they can get that moving forward.
Okay. So we need a motion to continue that.
Yes, and I would say if you guys can, since it may not be the next meeting, that's because of the holidays and stuff, you guys can just continue it and we'll put it on your unfinished business, not ready for action until it is ready.
Okay, and what number is that?
This is 101-24.
Okay. Justin, did you want to take that?
Sure. Based on the staff's recommendation, I recommend to continue 101-24.
Second that motion.
Okay. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, the motion passes.
Alrighty. Moving on to 103-24 JVP Rentals is a request for an exception to the front yard regulations for the purpose of replacing stairs at 9449 Kirchner Avenue, maintaining a front yard of 6 feet in lieu of 20 feet as required by the R5 Residence District regulations of the St. Louis County zoning ordinance. John, I'm going to request for you to unmute. Please state your name for the record and then proceed with your petition.
John Vanderplume. I'm the owner of JVP Rentals. And can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, that's basically what we're trying to do is to get a variance for the front steps. The front steps have always been like that. There's a couple houses on the street too that are built the same way and just looking for a variance for the setback so we can redo the steps so they're in the same spot as they've always been. For the setback off the street.
And it appears with these photos that there's a lot of similarities up and down the street.
Yeah, and all that stuff in the front yard from those pictures, that's not trash. The neighbors actually decorated the house for Halloween, so that's what all that is. Just so you guys are aware. I told them they could.
And just for clarification, I believe you stated it, but that the dimensions will be remain the same as existing.
Correct. Yeah, we're just building them exactly how they were. Nothing's changing on that aspect of it.
I have no other questions.
Okay. Is there anyone here in favor or opposition?
I don't see any hands, so at this time I'm going to mute the petitioner's representative so the board can take a vote. This is 103-24.
In the case of 103-24, I make a motion to approve the variance citing the need for safety issues to rebuild the stair in its existing location and dimensions.
I second it. All those in favor? Aye.
Yeah.
Any opposed? The motion passes.
Alrighty. (105-24) Eric Tomlin is a request for an exception to allow the construction of a 35-foot by 50-foot detached garage at 12540 Lusher Road, which is more than 1,000 square feet in area as permitted by the zoning enforcement officer's interpretation of the zoning ordinance via interpretation number CI-Z-001-17. Eric, if you are on the call, could you please raise your hand? I don't see you in my list.
Okay.
I don't see the petitioner, so if the board would like to move to have them go to the end and we can see if he jumps in later, that would require a vote to do so.
I'll make a motion to move 105-24 to the end of the agenda.
Second that motion.
Okay. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Motion passes.
All right, thank you.
Mhm.
All right. We will then move on to 106-24 Eric Marler, which is a request for an exception to allow the construction of a 27-foot by 33-foot detached garage with an overall 891 square feet, which is more than half the footprint of the primary residence at 2650 Trustin Avenue, as required by the R2 Residence District regulations of the St. Louis County zoning ordinance. Antonio, I'm going to request for you to unmute. Please just state your name for the record and then proceed with your case.
Hi, my name is Antonio Delgado, and I'm representing Eric Marler at 2650 Trustin. And we built a detached carport, and it's 891 square feet. And the residence, we're asking for 150 square foot, basically estimated 150 square foot variance for the 50% rule of the primary residence. It was built to house a boat that was damaged by hail like 4 years ago. So we built it prior to the 2000. I mean, we built it in 2019, and then in 17 we weren't aware of the 50% rule changing and actually going into effect. So, and we have an engineering firm, Frontenac Engineering Firm, that's already cleared off and all the design. So we have the building permit. We just need the variance to proceed with the engineering firm we hired. And there's similar structures in the area. They're all actually bigger. So like that's kind of why we were under the impression that that size was allowable. So we kind of went smaller than a resident or neighbors. And also too, we have like 6, so all the surrounding neighbors are all in favor of it. They're not, there's no objections basically. So
And what is your hardship?
so the housing the boat, and so the protection of my boat and my property, basically. Because also too, like 6 or 7 years ago, so it's a sailboat and it's an open cabin. Some neighborhood kids were on it, playing on it, and I was worried about their safety. We got into it with the neighbors. We talked about it and we discussed that they won't do that again. But we built that basically to house. So on the right side is my sailboat, and just the left side's all open.
Okay, and how is he for lot coverage?
Excuse me?
He should be good.
He should be good for that?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Are there any other questions?
If the variance is approved, what does the existing gravel has to go away? Is that correct?
Oh.
Steph?
For sure. Yeah, we're getting paved. So pavement and then concrete, a 6-inch concrete slab. And then also, so the building application is to wrap the exterior in metal too. So it's basically a metal outbuilding, basically.
Okay.
So a detached garage. And it's 891 square feet, and we're under the 1,000 square foot code, but we are the primary residence. We need that difference is 150 square feet.
Okay. Are there any other questions?
Can we go back to the plan?
Sure.
We're 15 feet off of the line.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're plenty off the easements.
Yeah, the setbacks aren't in question.
Okay. I have no other questions.
Okay. Is there anyone here in favor or opposition?
I don't see any hands, so at this time, I'm going to mute the petitioner's representative so the board can take a vote. This is 106-24.
Okay, in the matter of 106-24, I vote to approve the variance as advertised, and the hardship being just a need for additional shelter.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay, the motion passes. Thank you.
All right, so just for record, the vote was 2-1.
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
All right, moving on to 107-24, Joanna Thiessen is a request for an exception to the side yard regulations for the purpose of replacing a deck and stairs at 4910 Cyber Avenue, maintaining a side yard of 5 feet in lieu of 6 feet as required by the R5 Residence District regulations of the St. Louis County zoning ordinance. And let's see here. Joanna, I see you're on the call, so I'm going to request for you to unmute. And please just state your name for the record, and then you'll be able to proceed with your case.
My name is Johanna Thiessen. I live at 4910 Cyber Avenue.
All right, you can proceed with your case.
Okay, what I want to do is get the house tuck pointed, and in order to fix the front porch, they're going to take it down by hand, the bricks, and put it all back up so it's straight. Anything else I need to say?
Do you mind stating your hardship, just for the record?
Okay, my hardship? I don't know. I don't have enough. Well, the porch is tilting forward. Is that what you want to know?
And it's
And I
just,
need-
it's going back in the same spot, right, Joanne?
Exactly. They're putting it right back. They said they're going to bring it back to like it looked when it was originally built.
Okay. Okay, are there any other questions?
I don't have any.
Okay. Is there anyone here in favor or opposition?
I don't see any hands at this time, so I'm going to mute the property owner so the board can take a vote. This is 107-24.
In the matter of 107-24, based on the existing conditions, I make a motion to approve the variance as advertised.
Second that motion.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, the motion passes.
Alrighty, moving on to 108-24 Rainbow Village Properties.
Hold on, just a second.
I was like, is that me or? All right, 108-24 Rainbow Village Properties is a request for an exception to the front yard regulations for the purpose of installing a deck and ramp at 14426 Fox Chase Drive, maintaining a front yard of 12 feet in lieu of 25 feet as required by the R2 Residence District regulations of the St. Louis County zoning ordinance. David, I'm going to request for you to unmute at this time. Please just state your name for the record and then proceed with your case.
Yes, my name is Dave Dedeker. I'm representing Rainbow Village Properties. I'm the contractor out to install this ramp for the resident to get in and out of the house. Better. They thought about putting it in the garage, but they would like to leave the car in the garage so they would not have to remove the snow or inclement weather. And the reason for the ramp is due to the fact of the wheelchair that the person is in, the resident is in.
Okay. Are there any questions?
Just go back to the overall. Oh, okay, great. I was gonna say it's even better.
Yeah, we're trying not to go out any further than that
Existing sidewalk.
flower bed. With I think the light post in it.
Mhm.
Okay, so you're creating a wheelchair ramp right there?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't have any questions, Angela.
Okay.
No further questions myself.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone here in favor or opposition?
I don't see any hands, so at this time I'm going to mute the petitioner's representative. Or wait, somebody just raised their hand. I lied.
Yeah.
All right, let me mute the petitioner's representative and then we'll unmute the citizen. Lisa, I'm going to request for you to unmute. And then just please state your name for the record. Lisa Dickerson, there we go. All right.
And Director of Operations, and I work with Promise Community Homes, who is Rainbow Village, and I am in favor of this. I just wanted to say that too, that we appreciate the opportunity to install the ramp at this location for our resident. So I just wanted to say that, thank you for consideration.
Thank you.
All right.
Is there anyone else here in favor or opposition?
No, that was it. This is 108-24.
In the case of 108-24, I recommend approval of the variance, citing the need for ADA compliance.
I'll
Okay,
second.
okay. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, the motion passes.
All right, 109-24, Ken and Kristen Gailey is a request for an exception to the rear yard regulations for the purpose of constructing an in-ground pool at 1017 Brittlewood Valley Point, maintaining a rear yard of 10 feet in lieu of 15 feet as required by the R1A Residence District regulations of the St. Louis County Zoning Ordinance and PEU Ordinance 22,656. Ken, I see you're on the call, so I'm going to request for you to unmute. Please just state your name for the record and then proceed with your case.
And you can hear me okay?
Mhm.
Yes.
Yes. Ken Guile and what else was, sorry, what else was it I needed to state?
You can move forward with your case. You're good.
Okay, so I do have this first time I'm doing this, I do have like a couple of pictures and slides, but I thought I'd be able to share those. But you know, I can talk to it, or is there a way that I can share?
So there isn't a way to share just because it's very clunky with WebEx, but staff did go out to your site and take site photos.
Good.
So
Good. So
yes.
so from what they would have seen then, so the hardship, you know, there's space limitations. So in order for us to maintain 5 foot to the deck and patio from the edge of the pool, you know, we're going to fall within 10 feet from the property line. So by having the variance to go from 15 foot to 10 foot, we'll be able to maintain that clearance and not have to cut into the existing paver patio. And then also the concern would be if we have the pool and it gets too close to the deck, we have to push it forward towards the home, then it would become a pretty well an unsafe diving board effect for kids, things like that. So we're trying to keep it back away. In order to do that, once again, would need to have the rear property setback changed from 15 foot to 10 foot. And there is no impact on the surrounding area. As your partner would have seen, you know, there's no neighbors to the rear of the property. It goes off about, you know, 100 foot. It goes into woods, and there's no change requested to the side boundaries. And the property backs eventually into a retention pond area with no obstructions.
Okay. Thank you. Are there any questions?
I do. Can you state, based on this photo or the site plan, where the pool equipment's going to be located, the pump, et cetera?
As you're looking at the picture, it would be off to the right. Oh, there you go. Perfect. That picture you just had. Oop, back up one maybe.
I think they're showing it on the site plan there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's fine. But it's off. Now as you're looking at the picture, you see the okay, it keeps changing.
Sorry,
So
that's
you
me.
see the rounded fire pit at the top, and then going more towards the rear of the yard, you actually, what is that shown? It will be just back to the left of the fire pit area.
Okay.
So it would be you're looking at the plot plan, it would be to the, let's call it top, past toward the property line, and it'll be set back, I believe the pool company said 6 feet minimum from the side property line.
Okay. And how close will that be to the neighbor's house?
The neighbor's house, if you see where the fire pit area is, their house would be diagonal up and to the right.
Okay.
It's next to her.
Okay. Are
Assuming
questions?
the backdrop is common ground, or is that?
It's common ground.
It's common
Okay.
ground.
And we're beyond the easement. Okay. I have no other questions.
Okay. Is there anyone here in favor or opposition?
I don't see anybody at this time, so I'm going to mute the property owner so the board can take a vote. This is 109-24.
In the matter of 109-24, I vote to approve the variance as advertised.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. All those in favor? Aye.
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 Okay, none are opposed. The motion passes.
All right, 110-24 Zoological Subdistrict of the Metropolitan Zoo is a request for an exception to the off-street parking and loading regulations for the purpose of reutilizing parking at 12385 Larimore Road, maintaining a drive aisle of 13.5 feet in lieu of 17.5 feet, and parking stall lengths of 19 feet in lieu of 21 feet, as required by the off-street parking and loading regulations of the St. Louis County zoning ordinance. Mike, I'm going to request for you to unmute, and then you can tell me who else is supposed to be on the call, and I'll see if I can find them.
Sure. Can you unmute Jim D as well?
Yes, I can.
So,
Jim, you're getting a request to unmute.
My name is Mike Mueller. I work for David Mason and Associates. I'm the civil engineer for the Wildcare Park project. I've asked the architects to join the call as well. It's Jim D with PGAV. I'm gonna go ahead and let Jim give a little kind of a synopsis of the project, and then I'll come back in and state the hardships. Go ahead, Jim.
Great, thanks, Mike. And thank you, everybody, for spending the time to listen to this. So just wanted to give you a quick rundown of what's going on out there at the Wildcare Park. So it's a 425-acre site that used to be the Emerald Greens Golf Course. Its main focus is going to be to maximize the use of the site for conservation of endangered animals. You saw there are exist out there, and for each of those, less than a few thousand of those animals even exist in the world. And the really exciting thing about that is that already they've had a few births. You may have heard about that in the news, but they've had 2 attics and one of the gravy zebras born out there on site within the last year, which is really exciting. So the idea, and what you're seeing here on this slide, is the green areas. The zoo is trying to obviously use as much of this site as and all of the dark green areas that you're seeing are currently being planned to use for those conservation areas. And then we have some lighter green areas that are just nature areas that are wetland areas or other nature trail areas that we're trying to keep as they are. And then there's some light blue areas there in the middle that are somewhat unusable for our purpose because of the terrains and things like that. And then the area that you see in the middle that's sort of a peach or brownish color, pink color, is sort of the core area or areas that guests will access so that they can come here and visit for a few hours and take tours and see what the zoo is doing to help these animals and to help them thrive and hopefully recover their populations in the wild someday. So that's pretty much what we're doing here. I think I'm going to turn it back over to Mike, and he's going to kind of talk about I think in the next slide, this is sort of showing the existing parking lot versus the planned and proposed parking lot.
Thanks, Jim. So as you can see on the left-hand side, the existing parking lot, when the zoo first purchased this property and we did some master planning and some different scenarios, the goal was always to use the existing parking because it met their needs, quite frankly. But as we did a deeper dive into the zoning codes, we realized that the way it was striped currently and with these the concrete raised medians, it wasn't meeting the county's codes the way it was currently laid out, which we kind of threw us for a loop for a little bit. The current angled parking is at 68 degrees, and the curb to curb, face of curb to face of curb distance is around 51 to 52 feet. Which kind of more matches the 45-degree parking than a 60 or as it was parked out there right now, a 68-degree parking. So we did a couple different configurations on how to try and resolve this. When we went to 45, we didn't meet the parking counts, both the county's parking count, and also the team did a programming parking count of anticipated visitors and such, so on and so forth. And reparking it to meet the code, we were 150 parking spaces light, which, really wasn't what the zoo was going for. So, we looked at some other different scenarios, and widening out or increasing the parking lot kind of went against everything we were trying to do with the conservation. Just to give you an example, the number of animals allowed on the site is based on the fenced in pasture areas. So if we make the parking lot, this existing parking lot bigger, we have to reduce some of the pastures, then we can't have as many animals out there. So I got, long story short, that the existing parking lot we thought was already parked appropriately for what we needed, but then we found out it wasn't. So I guess one of the hardships would be the existing conditions with the raised medians kind of forcing us in with this 52 feet. And then I would say that the other hardship that we have is even though this is a big site, there are numerous karst areas on this property. And even moving to a little bit to the, and you can see on the picture on the right, just to the northeast of the parking lot, the contours really get tight together. We think that might be a karst area up there. So like moving off the footprint of what's already been established as the parking lot, we're not sure if we're going to be getting in more karst areas or sinkhole areas. So those are the two main hardships that we have on this: is existing conditions of what we thought we were purchasing, and then also the karst areas. So I guess in closing, if you have any questions, we'd be glad to answer them, but I'd like to thank you for your time and consideration. There's one last bit, sorry. This is the south parking lot at the zoo's main campus in Forest Park. They do a 60-degree parking out there, and they're only doing 14 feet from the face of curb to the back. And the drive aisles are 16, but overall you're looking at about a 45 foot instead of 52, what we currently have. And this seems to work at their main campus with a lot more visitors than what we're anticipating up at the new Wildcare Park. So again, thank you for your time. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions? I think you guys must have did a great job. There are any questions?
I'm sure I have no questions, but would like to recuse myself from this vote and request.
Okay. Okay. Is there anyone here in favor or opposition?
I don't see anybody at this time, so I'm going to mute the petitioner's representatives. Also, just for the board, staff did provide you with a staff report, noting that just because of the size of this project, the board has the ability to approve a variance, if that's the board's will, for more than the 6 months allotted. You can allot it for as long as of time if you want. So staff is recommending, if the board chooses to approve this variance, that the variance be expanded out for 2 years to obtain the necessary permits.
Okay.
Can we go back to the original slide? I'm trying to figure, so there's two different variances, right? The
Yes,
number
that is correct.
and the number and the
So it's for the drive aisle
yeah.
width, and then for the parking stall length.
Okay. And then is it still, can I ask the petitioner if the board was willing to grant this, is the 2-year period long enough for them to maintain the
Let me get Mike and Jim back on here. They might be able to better tell you. just because they've been working with the Department of Public Works more with permitting.
Yeah.
So Jim and Mike, I've requested for you to unmute again.
Sure. Yeah, we believe 2 years is enough. Just kind of the time frame, and Jim, am I allowed to say, we've got an NDA, so Jim, am I allowed to say when the park is supposed to open?
Yeah, I think that's actually public knowledge.
Okay, so we're looking to have animals out there for over a year before that it officially opens. So that, as Jim had mentioned earlier, there's already some animals out there, but we'd like to have all the animals out there a year before, at least a year before it opens publicly, which is going to be in the spring of 2027. So that means we're gonna have all the animals out there in 2026. So we don't want to have a lot of construction going on at that time. That's so they can get acclimated to the site. So we would hope that construction is almost complete in the next year and a half to 2 years. So yeah, 2 years should be plenty.
Okay. Very
And
good.
I would also, just for the board's knowledge, this particular part of the Wild Care Park is in active review with the Department of Planning. So they haven't gotten this approved yet. So that's also part of the reasoning behind staff recommending the 2 years.
Yep. Got it. Okay. I don't think I have any further questions.
Okay, and so is there anyone here in favor or opposition?
I do not see any hands, so at this time, both of the petitioner's representatives are on mute. This is 110-24.
Okay, 110-24, I vote to approve the variance as advertised and extend the request to 2 years. When the park opens, I've been on the site and things are going pretty well. And so I vote to approve this variance.
I'll second that.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. And the motion passes, and I know that Vince has abstained from voting.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Moving back to 105-24, I do see Eric now, so give me 1 second here to just get us back, and then I will share my screen again here just to make it easier. Okay. Let's see here, isn't there we go. All right, 105-24, Eric Tomlin is a request for an exception to allow the construction of a 35-foot by 50-foot detached garage at 12540 Lusher Road, which is more than 1,000 square feet in area as permitted by the zoning enforcement officer's interpretation of the zoning ordinance via interpretation number CI-Z-001-17. Eric, I'm going to request for you to unmute. Please state your name for the record and then present your case. Eric, we're not hearing you.
Eric Tomlin.
There we go. Thank you.
Please state your case.
I'm trying to get I want a oversized garage to store my RV and lawn equipment, etc. For with me being on such a main drag there, I would like to have my stuff out of sight. My the actual building is 1,700 or so square feet, and the house footprint is 5,310 square feet.
And how is he for light coverage?
From my understanding, lot coverage was not in question for
Okay.
this.
Mhm.
And just for clarification, your hardship was the size of the equipment you're looking to store your RV, or is there a separate hardship? I didn't hear it stated.
Just to have my RV off with the inside, out the weather also.
And is the lawn equipment used for maintaining this sole residence?
Sole residence, yeah.
Mr. Tomlin, how large did you say your house was?
It's 5,310 square feet.
Okay,
The-
so
the
staff, this
footprint.
is there's a
I'm
code.
sorry.
I'm sorry, I'm asking staff a question.
Okay.
So there's a code that says the max allowed is 1,000 square feet. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. Per the zoning enforcement officer's interpretation from 2017, a detached structure can be no more than 1,000 square feet, which is why, so it doesn't trigger the more than half the footprint of the home, but it does trigger this second thing of over the 1,000.
Got it.
I have no other questions.
Okay, is there anyone here in favor or opposition?
I do see a hand raised, so at this time, I'm going to mute the petitioner so we can hear from the neighbor.
Okay.
Miss Diane, I'm going to request for you to unmute. Please just state your name for the record and then proceed with your comments. Thank you.
Diane McGee, and I just have a quick question. As far as the oversized garage, it's going to be, if you're facing the property, it's going to be on the left of the property. Basically, I guess, perpendicular to Lusher Road. Not going the same direction as Lusher Road, right? It's perpendicular.
So I can answer that from staff's perspective. When you're looking at that at the site plan, Lusher, it's going along Lusher Road. When you're looking off of Lusher Road, the proposed location is that top left corner. But it would be, the front entrance would be, you would drive up the existing driveway. So yes, you are correct, but it's also, you'll still be able to see it from Lusher.
Okay. Thank you for the
Yep,
clarification.
of course.
Okay.
I don't see any other hands though.
Okay. Okay, if there are no other questions at this time, we are ready to take a vote.
All right, this is 105-24.
That Vince.
Case of 105-24, I'll make a motion to approve the variance as requested, noting the hardship for oversized equipment.
Mhm. I second that. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay, the motion passes.
All righty, and that is all we have for you guys today.
Okay.
So your next meeting will be December 4th. It's a pretty light agenda compared to today's. So, but we will also have for you guys at your December 4th meeting your 2025 agenda to approve.
Okay,
So,
sounds good.
That's crazy.
I know.
2025.
Now the year is over.
Yeah. Well, guys, I hope everyone has a great Thanksgiving, and we'll see you all on the 4th.
Oh, real quick, I do need you guys to motion to
Oh, yeah.
adjourn.
Can I ask a question to Bob and just to staff, just to verify? So my
Yeah.
recluse vote, I was on the board and voted on that for the St. Louis Zoo. Is
Mm-hmm.
that something that I should not be voting on in here, or is that a case to be made? I was on the board at the time when I voted to approve that plan.
I would think that would be a Bob question.
That's what I was, yeah.
Yeah.
The, you were on the board when what plan was approved?
For the overall plan for the Larimore site for the zoo.
Oh. Well, okay.
I
but
didn't vote on that specific plan. That's why I'm asking for clarification if I need to recuse myself from those types of votes.
And you recuse yourself today, right?
Correct.
Well, to tell you the truth, I don't think it's necessary. You're not on the board anymore, right?
No longer on the board. That's why I wanted to get the clarification. But at the time, I just recused myself instead of asking in front of them.
I don't think it's necessary. Once you're off the board, unless it would be something that you have some kind of continuing interest in. Once you're off the board, the conflict is gone. So you can participate from now on.
Okay, thank you for clarifying.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second
Nice.
that motion.
okay. All those in favor? Aye.
All right.
Aye.
Okay, the
Thanks,
motion.
guys. Have a good one.
Thanks.
See y'all
Have a good
in-
Thanksgiving.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Happy
You all too.
Thanksgiving.
Bye.
Thank you.
Hey, Abby, just so you know,
Yes.
Joanna has her hand up. I don't know
Oh,
if she has a question.
yep, I'll take care of it.
All right.
All right.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
Bye.
Thank you. Take care,
Bye.
guys.
Sean, you can end the recording.